Welcome everyone to episode number 71 of Manifesting with Meg. I'm so excited to be here with you guys tonight. This is such an incredible treat to have this wonderful guest with me. But before I go on, this is Manifesting with Meg. This is conversations with extraordinary people. And we get to talk about transformation, inspiration, true happiness, discovering bliss, and it's time to manifest the life of your dreams. I want to welcome all you to start manifesting amazing. You're just steps away from the life you desire. Remember that. It's time to wake up to the universe packed with possibility. And do I have an amazing guest for you tonight? It is Amazing Joy, embracing your joy. And we have the amazing Casey Hasten. Welcome. I'm so glad to have you here for this 71st episode called Bloom Where You Are Planted. Welcome.
Thank you.
Before we begin, I want to always set our intentions. Literally, I'm really going to have fun tonight because I know this conversation is going to be amazing. But we pick a magical number and that corresponds to the Magical Guide to Bliss. This show is based upon my book, The Magical Guide to Bliss. And it's 366 insights of the day that basically run through the year with all themed throughout the months. And like I said, this is Embracing Your Joy Month. And we have Casey. So Casey, set your intention, pick your number, and I'm going to give your beautiful intro. Casey is the Director of Recruiting and Coaching with VIP, podcast host of the We Are VIP podcast, and the Networking Ninja. After being in accounting for over 20 years, she made the leap to recruiting those who with similar backgrounds. It's her goal to help others find their career passion using all the skills and networking outlets she has gathered. And if you see her in action, you know this lady means business for sure. She is an avid reader, my fave kind of people, and a consumer of knowledge. And most of her conversations start with, I just read a book or I just listened to a podcast. So she's really a wealth of knowledge for all of you tonight. So tune in. Outside of work, she's a long distance cyclist. So all you enthusiasts of exercise, cycling, and this is the woman, and completed a huge milestone when she completed the Hotter Than Hell Century Ride. Got to know more about that, Casey, tonight. She's got one son, Garrett, who's proudly serving his country in the U.S. Air Force, which we're all grateful for. I want to point out that her mission is to raise consciousness in the world, helping those she touches learn to be at choice. And that's amazing because we all have the choice to do what we came to do in this world. She's just going to help you find out how to get there faster and sooner than ever before. And without further ado, I want to welcome Casey to tonight's episode. I know something magical about 71, and I know that we're going to have a ton of fun. So where we go, what quite the journey you've had, and there's so much more to learn about tonight. Certainly the whole VIP mindset, which I said to everybody, I'm calling out all you VIPs out there, how to step up by choice to embrace or, get, I guess, in life what is coming to you, what is yours to have. So without further ado, Casey, welcome. I'm so happy to have you here. This is so exciting. I was like, I know I always get you in a group of people when I do see you over Zoom, but now I get you to all to myself. So I'm super excited.
I was thinking the same thing. I was so excited in fact, I commented on LinkedIn today. I was like, I get an hour with Meg to myself.
I know. I feel the same way. I was like, it's kind of like these people in life that you see in a crowded Zoom room. You're like, oh, I got to get to know her. And I think it was, clearly your cool ass glasses for the first point, but then your incredibly effervescent personality. And I do believe that, your insight with regard to mindset and affirmations, efficiency, goal setting, all of the above make you a powerhouse, a dynamo. And I did say this to Sia. I was like, I think all the women in our networking group are powerhouses. I just get to speak to the leader, one of the leaders.
But it's all about the energy.
Yeah.
The energy attracts like energy, and we can't help but notice one another, even in a crowded Zoom room.
Isn't that amazing? And, I know a lot of people who show up into this world not really truly understanding the power of who they are, which is a whole concept behind the VIP and your We Are VIP podcast. It's really stepping up and embracing and really kind of, fine tuning and touching down to that core of who you are so that you come at the world. So, this is your journey. This is your path that you've been on. And we'll talk more about, you have a journal coming out, which I'm really excited about. I'm going to be the first one to get it for sure.
Experience.
Yay. Yay. I'm so excited. And one of the things I keep telling my friends, like I said before, is that you got to show up to VIP, act as if to actually have the world greet you at that place. So tell me a little bit about your journey, and if I missed anything, please fill it in.
Well, there's a lot going on. And, I kind of want to go back to, there's been several milestones in my journey, but I'm not going to go all the way back, but I want to go back to 2 years ago. Okay. Because that's really where what I call my awakening started occurring. I can almost tell you the day and time where it started. It's crazy. And it really occurred when I attended a conference. It was the Smart Femme Network conference, which I will forever be grateful for, because they really started me on this journey of like blossoming. You talk about bloom where you're planted. Man, yeah. I started blossoming at that moment. And it was just being surrounded with all those amazing people and all those people loving on me and telling me that I could do it. I always kind of knew I could, but I don't know what was holding me back. It was that fear. It was that self-talk. It was that, all those things that we make up in our head, those scripts that, if depending on what our perception is at the time, which is so important, that we see things through different lenses, right? Yeah. And so that moment changed my lens, because I went to a totally different state, saw totally different people, and these people were like, "What are you doing?" And they just lifted me up. Oh. And from that moment on, like, I started journaling, I started writing down my goals, and everything just started happening. When I started writing down my goals, I literally, at that April conference, wrote down that I was going to establish my personal brand by the end of June. And by July 3rd, my website went live.
Okay, so I'm going to step you back 2 stops, right? 2 years ago, okay. 2 stops back. You went to a Smart Femme conference. What was that, first and foremost? What was that? What did they stand for? What was their mission? What was their vision? What brought you there?
So Leah Woodford is the founder of Smart Femme. And again, stepping back again, it's kind of goes back to that networking. I was really just starting to kind of stick my toes in the water on networking. And I met someone, and we all know this. The person you meet may not be the one you're supposed to meet, but you have to meet them to get to the next person, to get to the next person, right? I wouldn't have met you without Frank Agan. No. Right? The great connector of the world.
I know, he's great.
He's amazing. Yeah. And so I was introduced to someone who and I just met this person. They're like, "You need to sign up for this conference and go to this conference." 2 weeks out, and something in my gut, my intuition, and it was so inconvenient. But something in my gut told me, you know what? This is it. You need to go. And so really, what the Smart Femme Network was established to do was help aspiring authors, which at the time I was not an aspiring author,
So it was for authors, not networking. Wow.
No, it wasn't networking. It was for authors.
Wow. Okay.
But it was also for women, but there were men there too, that wanted to achieve more. Mm. And I've always wanted to achieve more, but I put a cap on my head. Unintentionally, but I did. I was like, "No, you're not that good. You can't do that. You can't do that." But you know what? I can.
What were you doing before this conference that was like, this was such an eye-opening experience that you had there?
I was doing my job. I switched from accounting to recruiting, and I love recruiting. Yeah. But I didn't know why. I didn't understand why I loved it so much. And so once I defined the why, which Simon Sinek, find your why, start with why, all that stuff. So many great thought leaders talk about your why, and it's so important. Yeah. And I started on this journey to find my why. Mm. And once I found my why, it became the podcast was born out of that conference.
Wow. So what was your why? What was the thing that was calling to you to wake up and be in this world?
My wake-up call was to find your passion. And when I realized what that passion was, which is helping others find their passion, that's when everything became clear in my life.
So what does that mean to you now as you show up, 2 years later in the world that you find yourself with a podcast? We are VIP with a new job, you basically, paving new lanes, bringing a lot of women along. Cause I know that that's like a lot of the energy that you resonate is waking up women to the passions in their life. Because I know that we find each other on that path together. So tell me, where is that bringing you right now in your life?
So I have several different paths that I take. So one, I'm a recruiter. Okay. So one way I help people find their passion is I help them find their career passion, and I help them find a job. And I can't tell you how many times I have talked my candidates out of doing what they're doing now. I place accounting and finance professionals, and I talk people all the time out of doing that anymore.
Yeah.
But that's probably me because I didn't want to do accounting anymore, right?
You're like, don't do it. No,
don't do it. So boring, But my other passion is like when I meet people like you, and I meet people like Frank Agan, and and I've got a surprise for you on who I just met today.
I know. I can't wait to
the podcast.
I'm like,
But my other passion is I get to have these amazing conversations with people. And I was like, I need to share these with the world. These people need to be heard. So it's not me being heard. It's me providing the avenue for others to be heard. And so that is definitely a passion.
Okay, so I have this is like my intuition going off right here. And I know that it's so funny because we all look and we watch all the influencers out there and all the people that are standing on a stage and that are speaking whatever they're speaking. And a lot of people see that and go, that can never be me. That can never be me. Right. Like why would I ever intimate that is a place that would welcome my gifts or my skills or my everything to show up in that place to shine? What would you say to that person who's questioning whether there's enough room in the room for everyone's talents and gifts?
And I used to think that. I would be like, this has already been said. Why do I need to say it again? But here's the thing I'm going to tell you. Someone needs to hear it the way you're going to say it.
I love that. Yeah. I absolutely love that. And it's literally, I would see and hear people and the message may come at me. It might be the same message someone else says and a light bulb will go off or the timing will be perfect. And I think that, I think also the fact of the matter is when you understand your why, which is in fact what you're talking to, that you also are starting to pay attention to those people that will speak that secrets of life, like that essence, those sparkles, that little, confetti dust, at you, that you will in fact step into your world. So now I'm looking at your journey. So 2 years ago, now here we are. I love that we're talking We Are VIP. You're going to have to tell me who your guest was that you got today, because I'm like, yes, she must tell me. She must tell me. So go ahead, share with us.
So unless you're a sports fan, you probably won't recognize this name. But have you heard of Lady Magic?
No, but who's Lady Magic? Tell us.
Nancy Lieberman.
Okay, I am not a huge sports aficionado.
It's okay.
I know there are people out there who are, so I apologize to Nancy Lieberman. I am now going to be watching when she shows up because there's a reason. And like I always say, I get curious as the synchronicities. There's a reason why you're telling. So tell me, how did you get this guest and why is she important to you?
So the best piece of advice I ever got from one of my mentors, which happens to be Leah Woodford, who started the Smart Femme, was get your ask in gear.
I love that. Get your ask in gear. Everybody,
yep.
New phrase of the day. Get your ask in gear. I love it.
It's one of my favorite phrases. And anytime I'm feeling scared or not enough, that's what I tell myself. I hear her telling me, and she's like 5 foot. And I hear her looking at me and going, get your ask in gear, Casey.
I love it.
I love it. So I attended a luncheon today it was called Women in Play, for the LGPA, the women's golfers, and they were honoring Nancy Lieberman. So she is the keynote speaker,
wow.
Right?
Right.
And the voice of the Mavericks, Chuck Cooperstein, was there, and he's interviewing her. I mean, this is a big deal, right?
Wow, no kidding. Now it sounds like it's getting,
Yeah.
Yeah.
So she is known as Lady Magic. She was a major basketball player. She set like all the records that nobody's broken to this day.
Wow.
And then she was a coach, and now she has a foundation, a charitable foundation. And that's really where she stole my heart today, was talking about her charitable foundation, talking about how she helps specifically women that enter into the prison system that are pregnant.
Oh, wow.
And she helps them, keep up their motherly skills and then reacquaints them with their children when they come out and helps them find jobs. And I'm just like, I'm bawling at this point, right?
Yeah.
But afterwards, I just said, get your ass in gear. And I walked up to her and I said, I'm the host of the We Are VIP podcast.
Oh, I'd
like to help you out and share your message. And she's like, okay.
I love it. That's awesome. Suzanne is on here and she says, ask. That's your theme today, Megan. I have been saying today is my big ask day. Like I've been writing emails with my big ask. So Suzanne, you're absolutely right. I have getting my ask in gear here now. So literally the synchronicities are throughout everything, all the time, every day, every time you look. So Nancy Lieberman, I'm going to have to look her up for sure, because what an amazing person to look out for people who really have no voice and give them that. And it kind of goes along with our theme today, bloom where you are planted, which I think is just perfect for you, because it says be content what you have, rejoice in the way things are. When you realize there's nothing lacking, the whole world belongs to you. And that's Lao Tzu. But reality is that's the idea of it's perfect as it stands, regardless of whether or not it's perfect everywhere, like whoever sees it, it's perfect for you right where you are. So with that place, you have the abundance all around. There's no lack there, because it is all there to support you. And if you think that way, like you're saying, you just step up and say, I want to help you because your message hit me. Vulnerableness of it like made me feel, which is really what we all want to do in this world, is help other people feel, be present, be a part of this world. And I love that idea that everything happens for a reason, the beauty of counting your blessings in the here and now, embracing the joy, which is all about June. And as we come to the end, this is my last episode of June, I can't think of a better person to bring on telling us about how you are helping someone else embrace their joy. Even though she has a platform, that is amazing. In fact, that you said that she's hit all the records and all the heights, and she's still not done yet, because she still can use her voice. So tell me your thoughts about this, and the allowing the bloom where you were planted concept, and how it impacts you and how you react to something, where you can be that essential vessel, that VIP podcast. We Are VIP podcast.
Well, I think that's a perfect example right there, is that you kind of, I'm a firm believer that we co-create our lives every moment, right? Yeah. And, when I first started at VIP, I didn't have the same mindset, and I was always looking out over my shoulder, doing all those things. And when I embraced the moment, which I think is so important, and I know we struggle for that, but it is so important to be present in each moment and enjoy each moment and not worry about, I just got back from a trip and I knew that it was going to be tough because I got home late last night and I had a lot of stuff to do. And then I had to get up early this morning. I had this big networking event, but I didn't let all that steal my joy while I was on my trip. But with VIP, I think a great example of bloom where you're planted is the fact that whenever it's not that I don't take no for an answer, but I'm not afraid to ask, right?
Yeah.
So the podcast is a perfect example, because I was going to do it on my own, because I had been meeting so many cool people, and I was like, I could do a podcast. Not a big deal. I had no idea what I was getting into, by the way.
But you do. But it's so funny, because you say that you don't know what you got into, but you do it so well anyway. Well, the effervescent flow of the effortlessness of your life. It's just like you show up. It makes sense. You do it anyway.
Yes. Exactly. Yeah. And that's what happens. And that's a perfect term when you're in flow. Mm-hmm. Things just work out for you. And I think it's so important that you focus on that and that you just believe, because, there's thoughts and feelings. Are you familiar with Joe Dispenza's work?
Yeah, no, I love Joe Dispenza. Yeah, the healing initiative, right?
Yes.
I absolutely love that.
And I love that he talks about, and there's so many other thought leaders out there. I could name them off for days, but he's the one that I'm binging on right now, which is why he came to mind.
Yeah.
But when you tell yourself, I have abundance, I have enough, I can do this, it's already done.
Yeah.
Your brain does not know any different.
Yeah.
And so it starts looking for those biases to confirm that stuff's already done. And so you get what you want. It's the law of manifestation. It's the secret law of attraction.
Yeah. And, you know, I have to tell you, one of the coolest things about what you're saying about Joe Dispenza is also the whole idea is that the presentation of the ability to heal the wounds with what we know right now, so that we move forward in a way that empowers not only ourselves, empowers others. So we can start to ask, how can we help ourselves? And at the same time, how can we help others on this journey? Because I think that's really empowering. And I think that's really something that, you know, people miss out on, is the fact that we're all here to help each other as well. And I wanted to show this because I love your wonderful, you know, oh my God, you're going to laugh because it's so small. I usually read the things that I have it, so I have to look. It's so small that I have like literally an issue with seeing. But hang on, I'm going to read something. That is so funny. I need reading glasses, so I should basically ask for those. But these are beautiful. I have to say that these are pictures that are in your new journal, right? These are, so this is very exciting. So why don't you tell us about, while I read this, I'm going to show this in the stream, and I'm going to drum roll it. This is the cover of Casey's new journal called Awaken Your Awaken Your Potential. So tell us about this. Oh my God, it's absolutely beautiful. I'm so proud of you.
So I definitely have to give a shout out to my graphic designer, Nicole Cullum. She is amazing. She's a symbols and goddess expert. And
say that again for the people in the back. The symbols and goddess expert. Yes. Oh my God, that's amazing.
Yeah. And I've got to tell you the story of how I met her. Okay.
Yeah.
So we were talking about this beforehand, and I'm a big believer in throwing things out in the universe, right? Yeah. And I know you are too, right?
Totally.
You've already got them. You just have to wait for them to manifest, right?
Yes.
And so I met someone in the hub, the networking hub that we're both a part of, that, well, you know him, Nick Capozzi, and he does these amazing videos on LinkedIn for sales, but it works for other things too. Like I just had him on the podcast to talk about interviewing, how this stuff relates to interviewing. And so he's in Phoenix, okay? And I noticed that one of the girls that used to work at my studio starts commenting on his videos. And I'm like, oh, I haven't talked to her in forever. So I was like, I DM'd her and I was like, how do you know Nick? And she was like, I don't. I just tripped across his work on LinkedIn. And I was like, that's crazy, right?
Yes.
But no, it's synchronicity.
Totally. And so, sister, preach. I love it.
Yeah. And so we start talking, and I was like, and I just talked to my mentor that I was telling you about. This said, throw it out to the universe, Casey, what you need. Because I wanted a graphic designer that was a little bit mystical, because I really want people, when they look at these drawings, for it to evoke an emotion, right? Yeah. And so she goes, oh, my best friend's a symbol and goddess expert. Is that the kind of mystical you're looking for? And I'm like, yes, please. That's how I found Nicole.
Oh my God. So this literally is love. It's screaming out to me, love, awaken your potential. Two different, roads that lead to the same place. Tell me about the symbolism, since this is a goddess who drew it, right? Tell me the symbolism behind this cover, and what was the idea that you were trying to invoke?
So it's all love, right? Everything we do boils down to love. If we do things in love, then it's going to be okay. Everything's going to be fine. But there's also a heart and mind connection here.
Yeah.
And that's what you're seeing as the people walk up the stairs. They're walking into their heart to get connected.
I love it. The more people that do actually start walking into their heart to get connected to everyone who's around them, realizing that you bloom where you planted, so there's no mistakes as to who's showing up around you. This is beautiful. If we go together into the same direction, maybe taking different paths, but ultimately toward love, what a better and different world this will be. And now that I have more vision on what I'm looking at here, hang on, I'm going to put this back up so I can share that with you all. So what it says is, whatever I need is already here, and it is all for my highest good. And all around the circle, it says, I am, I am, I am, I am, I am, I am. With these two beautiful, tell me what this signifies or symbolizes for you, because it is absolutely stunning picture of these hands intertwined and holding each other. I love it. It's beautiful.
So this is the divider for the affirmation section of the journal, hence the I am all the way around it. These are Hamsa hands.
And say that again. What are they?
Hamsa.
Hamsa.
Mm-hmm.
Hamsa hands. Okay. And what exactly is that?
So that I can't really tell you in great detail, but they're supposed to symbolize, all the different little symbols on the hands are what's important, because Hamsa is, I believe it's an Indian tradition, but don't quote me on that, okay? But they will draw with the henna on their hands, all the different symbols of what they're trying to manifest.
Wow.
And so these symbols are created along with the I am affirmations to help you manifest what it is you're looking for.
Oh, wow. And this is on one of the pages of your journal as well, right? Oh, that's so exciting. And literally the whole point about her journal is to help you manifest. And I think that that's really important, because I think we become, I know, if the goal in life, right? What is the goal in life? It's not more money. It's not this or this. It is actually to find more happiness and being happy where you stand. And I think that when you start to contemplate that great I am, that is what's going to take you there to the next stage, which I love. This is gorgeous. This is gorgeous. Like I said, I'm going to be the first one. Now we have another beautiful rendition of a page of her journal, and it says, accountability breeds responsibility. And that's Stephen Covey. Tell me about this. I love being a lawyer, the balance.
The scales, the yin and yang.
Yes, absolutely. I love it. Absolutely love it. Tell me about this and why this speaks to you as well.
So the whole journal as a whole is about accountability. So when you see the journal, there's a page where you are basically committing to finishing your journal. It's a quarterly journal, right? Okay. And this symbol is beneath your commitment.
Oh, wow. Wow.
Your accountability.
Oh, I love it. That word has been coming up a lot in my house, because I do have children who need to learn the beauty of what accountable means. But you know what? I love contare means to tell, right? So in Italian, contare means to tell. So accountability for me is just to be able to tell your story the way you want to tell it. And I love, if you're living numbly or unconsciously, you're going to live at the mercy of. So you do stupid things, but you're accountable. It's a part of your story. You just take ownership. And when you actually make that commitment, like you say, you become able, right? So that is just so incredibly empowering, because then the accountability becomes a realization that by choice, like you said, you own your story, which I love it. This is fantastic. And it goes to the bloom where you planted, because I love the moon and the sun here is from day to night. It's a whole, the whole circular. It's amazing. This is your vision. I love this. This is fantastic. And then of course we have,
this is my favorite.
Oh, so I'm going to I'm going to read it out, and then you tell us what you think. So,
okay.
Whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right. And that's Henry Ford. Tell me about this beautiful quote.
So the quote is all about our mindset. So this is the divider for mindset, because there's 6 different sections in this book, by the way. This is not for the faint of heart. Okay. Yeah. This is for people who are serious about, finding out who you are, accomplishing what you want to accomplish, and growing in the process.
I love it.
Okay. So this one is more, if you look, there's the Om symbol in the back. And really what I'm hoping is when people turn to this section of the journal, they're going to feel that peace. They're going to feel that need to quiet their mind and to really focus on their mindset. I've got a kid too, and I tell him all the time, mindset is everything. And even though the podcast that I do, We Are VIP, is focused on helping people find new jobs, we do a lot on mindset.
Yeah.
Because if your mind's not right, you're not getting that job.
I agree. And Suzanne is saying that Henry Ford, this quote is one of her favorite quotes. Mm-hmm. And then we have one of my Camino buddies who walked the Camino de Santiago de Compostela with us here, Debbie, and she's like, I just love her. She rocks too. She literally was a superstar on the Camino. But literally, I want to say, I keep saying that word. I think I want to make sure people know specifically what I'm trying to say. It's reality. The Om is the peace, right? Where do you find peace with the idea that your mind, where your thoughts go, your body follows, where your
Yep.
mind goes, your heart will be joining there. And it's the feeling emotion, that tie between mind, body, integration, spirit. This is fantastic, because one of the things I'm like looking at now lately has been the mind body integration, where you can't be separate. You can't be separate parts of yourself. You have to, be that whole. And this picture right here is just beautiful. The colors are just so inviting. And like she said, this is not for the faint of heart. Go ahead. I'm sorry. What were you going to say?
I was just going to tell you, even the colors, she's a color expert too.
Oh, gorgeous. I can totally tell. They're just soothing. And it's kind of inviting you on this pilgrimage, in your life, where you can show up to the belief that you're able, like we were saying before, to do what you came here to do in any kind of, unfolding, which is fantastic. So let me ask you something. I know that we are big manifestors. That's one of my favorite things about you. I love people who play. It's playing with the universe. It's playing in the world. It's like, you get this opportunity to be here. Why won't you be here with a fun mindset, to actually, see what you can do, to see how you show up. I think it's so exciting. And one of the things, that I have to say as well is that, I do believe that people will limit themselves by what they're willing to tell themselves, right? What they're willing to, agree with themselves, whether they can or they can't, like you said. And I think, this is a beautiful thing, because usually around money, people get really caught up with, well, I don't have a lack mindset, let's say, to speak, like lack, and I don't have this, so I can't do that, and I need permission to, rather than giving myself my own permission, right? And this is beautiful. It's financial freedom is freedom from fear. And I think at the root of all evil in this world is fear, because it plays on those very childish, understandings of what we were taught at a level of, don't do that or this will happen. Don't do that or this will happen. And instead, when you get to be an adult, if it eventually happens, the adulting process, that whole paradigm can in fact shift, because we're not afraid to touch the stove anymore. It will burn our hand. It becomes, don't be afraid to live anymore. So tell me a little bit about this beautiful picture too. My God, it looks just like overflowing.
Well, before I do, you said something earlier that I want to kind of go back to, and you were talking about, like, we put limits on ourselves, but we also let other people put limits on us. I can't tell you how many people came to me and they're like, oh, you can't do a podcast? People will laugh at you. And I'm like, so, or you can't, I do a lot of news appearances because I'm considering the hiring expert across the US.
Wow.
And people are like, you're so stupid. You look so stupid when you go on there. And I'm like, you're just jealous because you're not going on there.
Yeah.
Don't let people put limits on you. If it's something you want to do, go do it. Don't worry about the haters. Don't worry about the people that are going to laugh. Don't worry about the people that say you stink, because they're just jealous.
I love it. Don't worry about the haters, people. That is the thing that you're going to have to go out there and believe, because honestly, they are wanting to do what you're doing. And the reality is that you'll invite them to the party if they were kind enough just to enjoy, the abundance all around them. Because I personally think your circle of influence, and tell me if you agree with this, how people show up around you, if they're winning, so to speak, it's coming to you too. I do believe it's that, like, that flow you're talking about, the effortless flow. And Suzanne saying, oh yes, shut out the naysayers. And it is like they really do have to feel better than, instead of, not saying they, but it's really kind of like, wow, we can all celebrate together. There's so much more. I put up recently, I should have brought the meme on here. There's no box. There's no box, there's none. And I go, nope, no box, no box, don't jump into one when there is not one, right? So that's something really important too. And I think what you're saying here, that freedom, right? The freedom from fear, like, eliminates the box. So, and for me, it's just what you see there is this beautiful overflowing of abundance. And it's fantastic. And I imagine because you're recruiting, you are looking for people who have that kind of mindset where creation, like you're saying, creation is important. Tell me a little bit more about that and how you look at your like your efforts when it comes to, you know, recruiting people, or when it comes to inviting people on your show as well. Because if you're looking to empower, I'm sure, you know, you're looking for people who are right there with you.
Absolutely. You know, and I want to kind of go back to, so like when I'm training people to be recruiters, one of the things I always say to them is give value first, the money will follow.
I love it.
And so, and really for me, when you see financial freedom here, I'm not talking about you got millions or billions in the bank. I'm just talking about you're free from that fear of not having money, right? Because the more you think about not having money, the more you're not going to have money.
Yeah, I love that. And you know, how can you bloom? How can seeds grow if they don't trust that they'll have enough to start sprouting, right? It's like you're always in that place of trust and understanding. And yes, amazing. And Debbie's saying the person who says, I can't do it, I say, yes, you can. It will be different than how I do it or how Mary does it, but you can do it. It'll be your own unique accomplishment, unlike any other. And I love that. Speak to that as well. Speak to what she just said here. That's on point for sure.
Absolutely. I think it's on point, and you're right. And you know, one thing that I want to encourage people to do is give yourself permission. See, that's something else I've learned. It's okay to make fun of yourself when you're doing.
But I was like, for your mission, for mission. You got look, permission for mission.
It's a new word.
I think you've got a new saying.
Give yourself permission for the end point of your journey to not look like you thought it was going to look. You know, when I started with VIP, I thought I was going to be the director of recruiting, training a team, hiring a team, and doing all this. My job has completely changed. I'm not doing a single thing I was hired to do with them, other than a little bit of recruiting. But I just throw that in there because I love it. You know, but now I'm not running a team. I'm not going and looking for new recruiters. I'm not training anymore because I'm doing the podcast. And I feel like I'm reaching a greater audience this way because, you know, whenever I sit down one-on-one with somebody, thousands of people can listen.
Yeah. Yeah. And, you know, the interesting thing is that, you know, if you were stuck in that, you know, role, that title, or that specific, you know, explanation of what your job duties were, you would never have played with what you could do, like what you can do. You would be stuck in that situation. Like you actually would have created your own box, which is not what happened. And now look at you. You're now, you know, your voice can be heard throughout. You're clearly an expert that people go to get, you know, advice or wisdom or guidance. And the bottom line is it's because you're embracing your own talents and you've given yourself permission to do it, which I think is really, really important. And I want to go back to, you know, the reason I do this show, and I think that, you know, everyone's like, oh, it's not business. It's not really, it really is everything. It's everything, because when people tap into their own extraordinariness, right, what makes them unique and special and fabulous, then so many others can benefit by virtue of just listening to see what you have to offer. And I think that kind of gives them the permission to actually embrace what they have to offer as well. So I want to ask you, you know, I love the fact that we cross paths for certain. I know, you know, I'm out there like saying 5 seconds to make change. That Mel Robbins, Casey is going to interview you, and it's going to be amazing. It's going to be amazing because the two of you are dynamos, and literally at the end of the day, you're both going to have an offering for so many people that is just going to be amazing as well. But I want to speak back to your legacy. What is your legacy that you want to leave for this world?
So to answer that question, I want to kind of tell you what I'm feeling right now. Okay. So throughout this journey, and I call it my awakening, and apparently that's a term out there that I didn't know before, but it's like a switch was flipped, right? And suddenly I see all the colors, I see all the potentiality, I see all the possibilities out there. I understand what it's like to attract that energy and attract what it is that I want in my life.
Right.
And so because of that, I'm so grateful And I'm so grateful, that I found my passion and that I get to love what I do. I mean, I don't stop working. I don't, but it's not really working, right?
I love
So
it.
because I love what I'm doing. And
Yeah.
so my legacy that I want to leave is that I want to help awaken the consciousness of the world.
Small, just a small a small goal. No, and I want to say that that is the most important thing that anyone can do. So I applaud your view, and I validate the fact that if you just said that to whoever wants to hear it tonight, the awakening the consciousness, just being that, well, actually, let me ask you, what does that mean in your own words? Because I have my own perspective, but I want to hear yours, what awakening the consciousness of the world means.
So I think it means getting in touch with your spirituality, whatever that may look like, right? But giving yourself, for me, the permission to be curious, to explore other, avenues. I believe very much, and this may be a little bit much for your audience, I don't know, but I believe we have a soul contract before we ever get here. And I believe we have soul contracts with other people, right? Yeah. And we are here to fulfill our soul contracts. But unless we wake up to that, sometimes we don't do it. And then we have to come back and do it again and do it again and do it again, right? And so for me, I know why I'm here now. I know what my purpose is. And so I am charging full on to complete that mission. And so when I say awakening, that's what I'm talking about. Why are you here? Do you know?
Yeah, I have to tell you, I am learning every day more and more my why. And I think sometimes a lot of people are like, well, I don't have my answer. I don't know what my why is. Well, it's kind of like the foraging through of your why you're not here to figure out the why you're here, because, it's kind of like that whole, trial and error. You try something, you're like, oh, that's not it. That doesn't make me come alive. And sometimes things make you come alive for a time, and then you're ready for another step in the level of enlightenment. So you're like, okay, next, I'm ready to awaken to a higher level. And that's also the process of awakening consciousness as well, that, okay, I learned what I need to learn here. I don't have to come back and do that soul contract in the negative way, but I have to level up a little bit more, which I think is one of my favorite things my friend Scott Fergie says all the time. It's leveling up, but it's that, being rest when you need to rest, and then expand when you need to expand. You just came back from vacation. Hopefully you got rest, because I don't know if that's the case. I don't know what that looks like for you, but, it's all perspective. But, back to engaging the extraordinary person, like, what would be considered for you a tool that you would use that would move you forward in this path in your life to awaken the consciousness of other people?
So I'm going to have to say my journal. That is absolutely, that's why I created it. And I will tell you, I'm not a creative person. I'm really not. And so when I first got the idea, and it was like, boom, do this. And I was like, okay. And so I just started exploring, and everything I needed, every person I needed, every tool I needed was dropped in my lap, literally dropped in my lap. And when I started working on the pages, I can't say, I feel like they were channeled. I don't come up with stuff like this.
I'm going to bring this back up while you're talking about it, because everyone, she's speaking about the Awaken Your Potential journal that's coming out to be set. When is this beautiful unfolding?
Hopefully in August, it should be published. We're about to go into beta testing for a few weeks, just to make sure we don't need to make any minor changes to it. But, and just quickly, I'll tell you what the journal, so I've always been an avid journaler. But because there's so many different areas of my life that I want to work on, I'd have 4 or 5 journals, right? Yeah. And I was like, I really want something all in one. And I couldn't find anything out there like it. Yeah. And that's when it hit me, design it. You do it, If not you, who?
Yeah, right? I love it. That's awesome. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, so this is a compilation of all the journals and everything that I do. So it starts with mindset. Then we go to affirmations, efficiency, because habit loops are important. And I'm referencing all the books I've read along the way throughout this journal.
Oh, that's exciting. Oh my God.
Goal setting, The
Yeah.
goal setting is amazing in here because it's so important that you write down your goals. That's where everything starts.
Can I
Even if
just
you're
stop
just
you there?
visioning.
I want to stop you there because I have you and I have my VIP Casey here, and I'm going to ask you specifically, what does goal setting mean to you? Because I think that, we throw that a word around. It could be like a soccer post, for God's sake, after the World Cup's going. Oh, right now the Euro Cup's going. But I wanted to make sure that, people understood what that means, because sometimes it's a bantered around word a lot. And I think that, for me, intentionally, my visions are important, but I want to hear it from you. And they're all saying, I can't wait for this journal. Suzanne and Leslie, you're all like, this journal. So I'm excited too.
Yay. Yay. I'm so excited to share it with the world. I'm literally like giving so many away just because I know I've been using this journal as the pages came out, just testing them for about 6 months now. And I know this is it. This is absolutely it. But as far as goal setting, so goal setting to me, I kind of go by the SMART principles, but not completely, because like the realistic and the achievable,
yeah,
they don't have to be realistic and achievable.
No realism. I don't want realism in my life. I love you.
So one of the things that I've done on the goal setting, so you do want to be specific. So what do you want to accomplish? So my first goal that I accomplished was the personal branding goal that I told you about. And I said, I want to have my personal brand website live by June 30th. I missed it by 3 days, but I still count it as a win.
Yeah, win. Yeah.
Yeah.
For sure.
And so that is a specific, measurable time, but here's the cool thing I'm doing on my goals, on the goal pages. Okay. So let's go back to that realistic and achievable. You can absolutely set a realistic and achievable target, and you can set a minimum target, right? One that's, still considered successful. Like I wanted 10,000 followers on Instagram, but if I get 5,000, I'm okay with that, right? That'd be a minimum. And then maybe 7,500 is a success. 10,000 is my stretch goal. That's the not realistic and achievable necessarily. But when you write it down, magic happens.
You hear that, guys? Write it down. Magic happens. I have another person. A lot of them on here right now hear me say that a lot. And I'm like, God, yes, just do it. Put it out to the universe. I'm like, I don't care how you do it. Put keep planting your seeds. Absolutely. I love it. Yes. Write it down. It's achievable. Write it down and awaken your potential. It's more achievable because it sounds to me like it's embraced by really a lot of beauty around it, which is the things that realistically we want to bring more into our life, that which is beautiful to each of us, rather than, not based upon the parameters or perspectives of others. So tell me, so as far as goals are concerned, so as far as, keep going with regard to the different sections of the journal. I interrupted you because I had to get it done. Yes.
I will keep talking if you don't interrupt me. So that's fine.
Yeah.
So goal setting, then productivity. Now this is the meat of the journal. Okay. So this is really cool. Really cool. And it's going to take me a minute to explain, but I got to tell you about it. So obviously you're going to have your monthly calendar, so you can do your quick, high level view, right? But where the beauty kicks in is on the daily pages. Okay. And these daily pages has your mindset section, which is, what is my intention for the day? How do I feel today? What was my meditation or quiet time, whatever you want to call it, because that is so important, especially if you have a really active brain, right? You've got to calm down that clutter so that you can set your intention, right? And here's something that a lot of people aren't going to understand, but what is your energy level? Okay.
Oh, that's interesting. I love that. Yeah. So tell me a little bit more. That's good.
So I don't know if you knew this or not, but I went to IPEC last year, which is the Institute for Professional something Excellence in Coaching. And everything is about energy coaching. Okay. And what it does is, so I'll just give you an example. There's levels 1 through 7. And I'm going to talk about this on the instructional videos that are going to come out with the journal. But level 1 is a victim mentality. Everything's happening to me, right? And when you're in that lens, when you're looking at the world that way, your brain, because it's super smart, is going to say, oh, you're a victim? Well, look at that. That's where you were a victim. That's where you're a victim. And it's not going to show you where you had the win, right? Yeah. It's only going to confirm what you're already thinking, because that's the way the brain works. Look up the reticular activation system. It's amazing, right? Yeah. So we want to set our level. As you go up the scale, so like level 7, I call the Buddha level. This is transcendence. This is where I am.
Yes.
Okay. But
Yes.
there's all those levels in between, and you get to choose. That's what I say when you're at choice every single moment. You get to choose how you respond. If you send me a nasty email and I respond from a level 2, which is anger, I have a choice to do that, right?
Yeah.
And it may be the appropriate reaction, or I can step back and say, well, do I want to respond from a level 3 and just put a Band-Aid on this? Or do I want to respond from a level 6 and just say, we're all one?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why I say the different levels, because whatever your level is in the morning, that's how you're going to view the world for the day.
Well, interestingly enough, I was listening today. You probably listen to Abraham Hicks sometimes too, but it says it's that
Every
reset,
day.
right? It's that reset. And where do you start giving the energy to, like what you're saying, the momentum. So you have 21 seconds to set a really positive momentum.
Yes.
Or the opposite, so it's like what you just said, where you start your day is going to really depict where you end your day, because likelihood it's going to be harder to change when that rolling ball gets some more energy. We were talking about before, that flow, right? Yep. I love that you pointed that out. Amazing. We're totally in sync today. So tell me more about, we both are iPad graduates, which is amazing too, because
I know.
That's what resonated with me, is the whole energy mindset, because really it does change the game when you realize where you are on the different levels. And it really does, as far as the way you show up in the world, because you know what you're going to get by how you step into the ring, right? You're going to get a lot of punches in the face, or you're going to negotiate a little bit better.
Exactly.
And Suzanne is saying mindfulness, absolutely mindfulness, how you present. And I love that. So tell me, so as far as the journal, because I think that's amazing, that's your one thing that's moving you forward. I want to know where people can get this journal, because if this is the thing that you're saying is going to level people up, becoming more VIPs, which are very important people, or whatever you want to call yourself, I know that you have your websites, CaseyHasten.com, CaseyHasten.com. Is that where all the information is going to be, as far as the you said, the little videos that come out with it as well, and where people can buy this and everything like that?
Yeah, the website's not live yet. I do apologize. It's like chicken and the egg. What comes first, right? Do we get the journal out? Do we get the website out? What do we do? So, but it should be up soon, at least a landing page, so that you can go there and at least sign up to get updates. So just keep an eye on that. I'm hoping that's going to be like the next week. That should be up. But then it'll also be available for sale on the website, and it's going to be on Amazon.
And where can we find your podcast too? I want to make sure people know, if they want a hit of Casey, where to go, and that'll level up their day for sure into this awakening of their true potential. I want to guide them to where they can find you.
So probably the best place is just to go to the CaseyHasten.com. There's a podcast link there. You can also go to YouTube, because it is a video podcast, and just search for We Are VIP, and it should pop up with all the episodes. If I might, episode, 2 episodes that I would so encourage people to listen to. Okay. Episode 85 is with Hal Elrod, the author of The Miracle Morning.
Love him.
I know. And it was so amazing to get to talk to him.
Yeah.
And again, like I said, we talk a lot about mindset, but one of my questions that I ask every single guest is, what is one thing you do each morning to set your day up for success?
Oh.
And that's based off The Miracle Morning.
Yeah. Wow. It's true. After I read The Miracle Morning, I was so contemplative of brushing my teeth. I was like, I have to do it first thing, so I get it out. It's just my habits for me. I don't know why. That always is the thing that comes up with Miracle Morning. But, what was the other episode that you wanted to guide people to as well? There's 2?
Yes. Well, all of them, all 100 of them. We just released episode 100 this today.
Congratulations. That's big. That's huge. That's huge. That's big.
It is. It is.
Congratulations.
Thank you. We did episode 100 with a live audience, so that was a lot of fun.
That's very exciting. Yes, absolutely.
So the other episode is episode 44. And for those of you, if you've read The Go-Giver, you know what I'm talking about, but with the author, Bob Berg, OMG.
Yeah. And for those of you who haven't heard about The Go-Giver, if there's anyone out there, it's a really wonderful book about generosity. And yes, and I think that, so it's episode 44 people should listen to.
Yes.
Oh, absolutely. I would definitely recommend it. It talks about generosity, what you like, and it may not come from one way, but it might come from another place, because clearly that whole energy of giving and receiving, that whole cycle of karmic, completionness or balance is there. So tell me, why do you love that one so much as well?
Because I so firmly believe in the go-giver. One of my core values, or one of my internal rules, is to give value first. And one of the things the go-giver taught me was to receive as well. Because I didn't want to receive, I just wanted to give.
Yeah, that's important.
And it's so important.
Yeah, and I want to tell, there's a lot of authors out there who are listening tonight, and they're giving this, like, especially like you're giving your journal to, you're giving it out, like you're literally giving it out, you're giving it away to people, because you want to share this insight, this message that has hit you so profoundly, it changed your life. So we are saying change your life for the better with Awaken Your Potential. So I'm plugging it. I believe in this lady. She is amazing. And I really, really do believe that I've seen her manifest. I've seen her unfold. I've seen the generosity. And I also want to, give back to her as well, the opportunity to reach out to as many people as they can. But, I want to come back to saying one of the things that I want to like end with, and most importantly, is like, where are you in prioritizing your life right now for you? Like, how are you showing it? How are you watering your bloom, literally? How are you helping yourself grow to greater heights in your profession, as well as personally and professionally?
I think the most important way that I'm growing right now is not caring what other people think. And I'm serious. And some of the best piece of advice, I get lots of pieces of advice, was, it's none of my business what you think about me.
Yeah.
And once I let go of that, it is not that, I don't want to hurt your feelings. I'm not saying that. But if you think my hair looks bad today, okay.
Oh, it looks good. It looks good, honey.
Thank you. But you know what I'm saying? I'm not going to, when I go to work and people are like, oh, who does she think she is? Because she's the host of the company podcast.
Yeah.
I don't hear that. I don't hear that negativity, right?
Yeah.
And I think even if I'm talking to somebody at work and I say something and they pop off at me and come back at me in a different way than I expected, I'm like, oh, well, maybe they had a bad dream last night.
Interesting.
And that's why they're acting that way. I do not take it personally.
That's awesome. And that's really important, especially for if you're out there, like, showing up how in your why, and really passionate about what you do, not to let other people's comments really deter you from doing what you for the mission that gives you permission to do what you're here to do. And with that, I wanted to ask you once again, what was your intention for this evening, sharing tonight with whoever wonderful crosses our path, whether it's on the podcast or in the YouTube video at this point, and Facebook Live?
My intention was to raise the awareness and to raise the consciousness. That's all I'm about right now. That's all I want to do. I want everyone to feel this beautiful feeling once you awaken, especially to your potential. What is out there for you? It's limitless.
I love it. And I do love the fact that you're sitting next to a plant right now, and we have bloom where you were planted. That is the theme. And she's got, so little, I don't think anything's coincidence in life. I always think that there's a plan. But yes, we're here to awaken and to, be all who we are. The world needs everyone to show up awake. So what was the page that you chose in the Magical Guide to Bliss? And you can choose whatever section you want to read, or whatever that hit you.
So page number 3, and now I have to put my glasses on. Thank you.
Oh, yes. They're awesome glasses, though, so she looks good.
That's the one thing that I'm not happy about, is not being able to read without glasses. It makes it very uncomfortable in bed. So I think, and I don't even think I need to read all of it, but January 1 pursues simplicity, clarity, and authenticity today and every day. And the part to me, and I am going to read maybe the first paragraph, but the authenticity, that's what spoke to me today, because again, one of my core values is to be authentic, even if it doesn't feel comfortable, I don't show up as anybody than who I am. Right. And if you don't like that, I'm sorry, but that's the way I have to be.
I love it. And that, I want that to be heard by whoever's listening, is that breathe life into your authentic self, because that is who we need you to be in this world as you walk toward love with everyone who shows up on your path. I think that's pure and beautiful. And I think with the intention of awakening consciousness, if you can hear what she just said, if you take that with you in everything that you do, today, tomorrow, wake up tomorrow and just think, today I'm just going to be authentically myself and not ask for permission to do so. I think that in and of that, you start a revolution of, the other way of evolution is LEOV is the beginning of evolution. The 4 letters at the beginning of evolution are love spelled backwards. So an evolution of love. So you return to love. And I think that if that's what we're all trying to awaken to, I think Casey is definitely one of the people who are incredibly leading the way. And what an honor and gift it was to have you here on my show tonight. I'm very excited. So I don't know if there's anything else you want to speak to as well with regard to the insight. I always believe there's synchronicity, but I think that authentic portion that you just said, is just so empowering and so beautiful all at once. And the fact of the matter is that you have this beautiful journal coming out too, and a wonderful interview coming up with Nancy Lieberman. I mean, I'm excited now to meet her via your show. And one of the things I want to ask you, and I love the fact that you call it We Are VIP, and I know it's based on your company, but what does VIP mean to you?
VIP means to me opportunity. And what I mean by that is, like with the podcast, whenever I said, I'm going to go do a podcast, and they're like, hey, come do that with us. We'll pay for it. And I'm like, okay. But then also, when I went to coaching school, it was never with the intent to launch a new vertical within VIP. But, the more I thought about it, the more sense it made. And when I approached them, they're like, go ahead, stand it up. Yeah. So for me, it's having that support, that forward thinking company, which a lot of people just aren't fortunate enough to have. Yeah. And so, and some people say I'm lucky. And I tell you, I manifested this.
You definitely manifested it for sure. And I do want to go back to the fact that you said VIP is opportunity. And when you start thinking of yourself as VIP, you all will see people who are VIP, that we say are VIP. They always have the opportunity to sit in the best places and to go to the blessed thing. But the reality is that they believed and they acted as if. So I want to show up in my authenticity, looking for those opportunities that are meant for me and for you. And I want to also take the opportunity also to remind everyone that my book is coming out, Butterfly Awakens. And I love that we both have the awaken word in our thing, because clearly as a manifester, Casey is rocking the world of consciousness, awakening anybody who is willing to join her. She is welcoming, generous, and also learning to receive it back. So I hope that you receive my incredibly well wishes, congratulatory remarks, because it is an endeavor to have a dream and see it created into a reality, finish what you started and not giving up, and you get to bask in the beauty of your creation now in August, hopefully when this journal comes up. I know I'm going to be one of the first to get it. So with that, I wanted to ask you for one bit of final inspiration, although Suzanne says that you're already so inspirational and so informative. So
well, thank you.
Great interview. But give us some inspiration that we can take our power back, so to speak, and walk into this world a different way, having had the wisdom of your words to take and care and walk with us.
This is something I share with all my candidates that I engage with in recruiting. Find your passion and you'll never work a day in your life.
I love it. So everybody out there, find your passion. You'll never work a day in your life. I want you to look up Casey. She has her website once again, www.caseyhasten.com. It'll be up soon, so don't get sad or anything. She'll be there. But her podcast, We Are VIPs, there. She has great guests, 44 and number 80. What was 84?
85.
85, I'm sorry. Well, 84 might be good too, by the way. 85. So go check those out if you need a hit of inspiration. Hal Elrod, and my God, you have Bob Berg, who is the go-giver. And then also there is Casey. She is as big as those and bigger. I am shout out to Mel again, Mel Robbins, this lady. calling you in. She wants you to be a part of her VIP experience. We are VIP. I can't wait to see that interview. I want to help everyone manifest their dreams. I want to jump on Casey's bandwagon tonight and say awaken to your potential, because you have so much potential. It's just waiting for you to give yourself permission. Casey, you have an amazing way about you. I adore you. You are fabulous. You have a big fan. I'm fangirling right now with you. I love to be in your presence, in your energy. It always is so uplifting and, yes, informative and reawakening to me, to my purpose. I want to remind everyone that we're all deliberate creatives of our dreams, of our life. So start dreaming big, get unrealistic with your dreams, and go for it. In Casey's book, you're going to have a section. I want you to dream huge, not just big. Let's love ourselves exactly where we are. Let's walk in that connectedness toward that inner heart space where it's being invited to do that in her journal. And I want to remind everyone that we are all extraordinary and we're here to manifest the life of our dreams. So go be bold and be awakeners. Thank you so much, Casey, again. It was wonderful, and have a wonderful evening, everyone. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.